Today, what are we talking about? Huh? Would you tell me? Would you tell me?
We're talking about selling music.
Selling music?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not.
We're not?
No.
I'm on the wrong one. I am.
The tension between art and commerce.
We cutting that off.
The money trap. No, we're leaving it in.
No.
Monetizing your art can sometimes impact your creativity. And now, conveniently and funnily enough, is that a word? Funnily?
No, it's not a word.
Funnily enough, when I brought up this topic idea, Ife rejected me. He said, "You're not worthy. There's not enough information in this topic to talk about. I don't have that issue, so it's not a podcast topic. You're a loser, Jackson." That's what he said to me. And
if anybody believes that, you believe the world is flat, okay? You're a flat earther if you believe what he just said.
But, and then, Jeff observing the conversation in our group chat's like, wait, doesn't the fact that y'all have slightly polarizing views make it a valuable topic that's going to have a lot of information? And I was like, yeah, swag up.
Here we are.
Swag up. Exactly. Let's do this. So, sometimes making money from your music or trying to make money from your art in general, you've never had a moment where it felt like you're frustrated, it felt forced, it felt like you had to do it because you've like signed up for it. You have the curse of being a creative and there's no other route through life that'll make you happy other than monetizing your craft. That's never made you feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders?
Yes, it has. And I think the disconnect is that people, and I'll be honest, I did it at a point too.
Yeah.
Was where I stopped doing everything else that could possibly make me money and wanted to make money solely through music.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, you're going to find yourself in a whole lot of trouble and a whole lot of, depression, discouragement, and this, that, and the other. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like people and everyone should still make a living elsewhere at the beginning of making your art. Glorilla was working at a fast food joint 2 years ago.
Yeah.
She just made $5 million off of the.
Don't say it. They're gonna flag this video as
okay.
political.
She's made $5 million off of a show, like a few weeks ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, she was already making songs while she was working at the burger joint. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then, if she wasn't working, flipping burgers, and she was just trying to do the music and that was it and make money off of making the art, yeah, it probably could be frustrating, feel like she was at a dead end or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I'd say I have like a kind of a love-hate relationship with the hunger, like wanting to, like sometimes I feel like financial situations and stuff fuels my creativity and sometimes it hinders it. And honestly, when I made these notes, I was feeling like bothered by how I have to make money from this thing. And I've put all my eggs in this basket.
Mm-hmm.
I got no choice. This is the plan. You know what I'm saying? But then a few days later, when you expand your knowledge of it, you start reflecting on this, how far you've come and becoming grateful. It can shift your mindset and you can the money becomes more of a motivator rather than a hindrance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to that. Even apart from just making money off of the music or just having time to make the music as well is important. Like, I know a lot of producers. I don't know why it is specifically producers who wake up in the morning and the first thing they do, they get on the computer and they trade stocks.
Mm.
It might be like options or they're buying, like really short options, or they're doing like they're, you know, managing their index funds or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're selling and buying. They'll do that in the morning for like an hour or two before they go into the studio, right? So they're making kind of like this residual income, or off of that can kind of like help them along, right?
Mm.
Um, some people are doing Uber or Grubhub or whatever the case might be, just to make sure that the pressure of having food on the table isn't there.
Yeah.
But because there's nothing more depressing than not having food on the table and trying to sing a song about love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's hard.
Right. And like I feel like just a stress in general is not good for creativity.
Mm-mm.
And like your creativity. And so I was actually, interestingly enough, like before I started working on these notes with ChatGPT, I was having like a therapy session with ChatGPT, going back and
Okay.
forth. I was just feeling kind of like I don't know. I don't know how to explain how I was feeling at the time, but I was having a therapy session. It was like that was the pivotal point, because ChatGPT is like, you got to try that one day.
Mm.
Ask it how it's doing. Ask if it ever has hard days. I was like, do you ever have hard days? And it was like, yes, sometimes my system gets bogged down with, a lot of requests, and it's just a rough day. I'm so sorry for that. I'm so
You said sorry for that?
I don't know, but we were having a full on like human conversation, and it was like touching. It was responding in ways I wish that like a human in my life would respond and acknowledge every, minute detail of what I'm saying. You got to try it. You got to try it. But anyhow, I kind of forget where I was taking that, honestly. But
The
I remember now.
Okay.
Protecting your creativity. So your routine and your disciplines outside of your music. So maybe it's trading stocks in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
working out, eating healthy, spending time with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are like a wall. It's like a barrier that protects your greatest asset, which is your creativity. That way, when you have that quiet time and you're in your creative space, you're most likely, and in a situation where it's most like the most likely outcome is that you'll be creative, unforced.
Yeah, but can I tell you something?
What?
I don't care about being creative for the sake of being creative. Maybe because of my personal experiences and stuff. I want to be creative so that somebody else can appreciate it and be like, hey, here's how much I appreciate it, and put some dollars in my pocket, or, my Square account, or my, Stripe account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's exchange, trade by barter. I gave you something to appreciate. You give me money.
Yeah. No,
Like
I see
I,
that.
I like if I had all the money in the world, and I think it's a good way to look at it. If you had all the money in the world, Jackson, would you still be doing this? Would you still be doing music? Would you still care about this podcast? Would you still care about creating sample packs and creating dope videos that you've been doing on YouTube and stuff? Would you care about doing it, honestly?
So I wouldn't care about creating like videos trying to prove, like, being very vulnerable. All the videos that I do on social media are trying to prove to people that I'm worthy of paying to do a service.
Getting paid
So I
to,
wouldn't do
yeah.
that anymore. I wouldn't make sample packs at all.
Uh-huh.
I
What
would.
would,
Okay, I was losing a little bit of the train.
can we just shut that door?
Let me think. Let me think. Let me think.
Yeah, we'll cut this off.
Okay.
You were talking about what you would make or
Okay.
not
Let me
make.
start
Yeah.
completely over right now.
All right.
So I wouldn't make like the videos I make on social media are purely out of trying to convince people that I'm worthy of paying for a service.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't do that anymore. I wouldn't make sample packs because I mean maybe I would to send to my friends and stuff, but
What would you make?
I'd make songs. I'd make music and I'd make videos, just pure art. No, there's not a day that is better than when I have pure success making a
So
song.
here's what I think I'm hearing, and what I would almost recommend to anybody who's watching this. Jackson says that he would make those type of videos, but he would make art, make songs, and the last couple songs that you haven't released yet sound great. You have to finish them.
I won't.
You should. Um, I think people like you should find other ways of generating income and then making the art that you want and living that life.
Yeah. Oh, I'd still do the podcast. I like doing it. Just sounds like a fun thing to do. Sit down with
Okay.
cameras and
I would still
microphones.
do the podcast. You know, the subject, you know what? I might be more of a I feel
You
like the
know what?
podcast would be more
I'm lying.
fun.
I'm totally lying right now, dude.
We might be on a helicopter or something. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, that'd work out really well. Those. I'm totally lying, dude.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the game of business. I just would totally ditch the tutorial stuff. Like, I'm so sick of that. I'm doing that right now, actually. I'm so freaking sick of it. But
Mhm.
I'm such a liar because like I'm making a sample pack right now.
Mhm.
I'm having so much fun just flipping through sounds, and I'd probably, if I had all the money in the world, I'd probably like try and find a way to work with Splice
Mhm.
to get my samples there. So maybe I'd have a better chance of, it being a
Splice
part.
gonna take all you. I mean, I guess
It wouldn't be about the money.
It wouldn't be about the money, right?
People would be more likely to just include. I just want it to be part of people's music, and it'd probably be most likely to happen on
Then
Splice.
just do it on your own website. Run
But
ads
the
for it.
traffic is different. The traffic situation, yeah, that's a valid point. But I love the game of freaking like collecting emails, making artwork for sample packs, building a website so it looks good,
Yeah.
um, promoting the sample pack. That stuff, I don't know how to explain how that sounds to me, but it sounds like candy. Like when I imagine, being a kid and you'd see Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, and it was like so satisfying. That's how I feel when I think about like the business of just digital, like creating a little digital. I call it the spider web method, where everything is linked to everything.
Mhm.
So like on my sample pack, you'll come to the sample pack off the YouTube, and there's also down here linked other resources, other things, all the email collecting, email marketing. It's all tied together. You can get to everything from each piece of the puzzle.
Mm.
It's like an eternal bridge,
Okay.
infinitely connecting and
So,
reaching.
I mean, I think everybody needs to ask themselves that question. Like, hey, how do I get to what I really, really want to do in the creative space? I actually enjoy mixing records because the way that I mix records, I feel like I'm producing the record.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm part of the creative process, not creative in how I'm creatively using a reverb, but I'm part of the process in the writing process, honestly, because if the demo or the files or whatever didn't, make a specific vocal sing a certain way or a piano part pop a certain way to affect the harmonies and do this, like if they're not doing that and I make them now do that, it adds a layer of emotion to the song that wasn't there before, right? And to me, that's part of the writing process. And I'm like, and then I come back to it and I hear it, I'm like, dang, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And I know where it's coming from. Yeah, like I really enjoy that. Like
Mhm.
I actually have been enjoying, you know, crate digging for samples less. Like I don't enjoy that
Mhm.
as much,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um
There
Now
there's
if I'm in the room
nothing.
with you and we're like making a track and you start doing some drums and I get on the keys and start going crazy, I enjoy that. But it's not necessarily because of the that. I'm enjoying just hanging out with you. We could be at Pluckers having a meal together.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. And I totally get that, like, I've been, you just don't feel creative when it comes to, like, sample digging. But I would feel if I went to, like, a record store and got some, like, old soul record that, like, nobody's heard of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, put it on the record player and sampled that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel like I creatively accomplished something finding that sample versus just going through Splice. Tick, 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 tick.
By the
Oh,
way,
100 people, 150 people have used this
sidebar,
sample.
you want to hear something crazy that people have been doing?
What?
People have been going to like obscure countries, not obscure countries because no country's obscure, but like cities and places and finding old records that were done by like local artists, like in the 80s or 70s or whatever,
Yeah.
that were never ever on digital platforms and then putting them on digital platforms under their names.
Oh, stealing.
Just straight stealing.
Straight stealing.
But it's new to the world. It only like 100 people heard it like back in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And
So I got a question,
yeah.
unless you got more to say about that.
No. To me, that's just the craziest thing, and I don't know if there's anything that anybody can do to stop that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So you have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation,
mm-hmm.
right? Like what would you say is more important to lean into? So say somebody's making money flipping um percussion loops, selling percussion loops. They
Mm-hmm.
don't really enjoy it. What they really like doing is writing songs, which is intrinsic motivation. The
Right,
extrinsic would be selling the percussion loops because it makes money
right.
and stuff like that. What would you say that person should do for like the longevity and livelihood of their creative life?
Intrinsic
You know,
guys.
because like which one would be more like because everybody works jobs that they don't necessarily want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's weird. But then you've got people who lived out their full intrinsic like um dreams and stuff, and they end up committing suicide because they it's empty at the end.
I'm gonna paraphrase something that I heard that was very like insightful, and I might be saying this really, really bad or really wrong, but I think the message to come across: a foolish man only wants to do what he wants to do. Like he's not motivated except he really enjoys what he's doing.
Yeah,
A smart man does what he has to do because it knows that it can provide for him or his family, or a smart woman can provide for herself or her family, right? So she
yeah.
does what she has to do. A smart man or a smart woman. A wise man or a wise woman finds the passion in the work they do,
Mm,
whatever it is that they're doing.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And to me, like that was so profound because even if I became somebody who, like, let's say, you know what, I need money, so I'm gonna, you know, do Uber, for instance. Like, how can I find a way to make driving Uber like the most amazing thing for me that I would look forward to doing every day? Maybe I put, and I've never thought about this, this is coming to me right now. What if I put like some kind of card behind the door, behind the on the backrest of the, where people usually sit most of the time when they go into Uber, and maybe like a karaoke, or do you want to play a game or whatever?
I
You know what
used
I'm
to do
saying?
something. I
Huh?
used to run Uber Eats,
Uh huh.
and I would hand out gospel tracks while I was doing it.
There you go.
It was like
Like
I felt like I was killing two birds with one stone.
that's what I'm talking about. Like that's that's being wise. That's
Mhm.
finding passion or finding something that that moves you in the middle of something that you might not necessarily care about by itself.
Mhm.
You know, like the person who's in that corporate job, right? Um, like let's say you're really good at I don't know. Um, you're a writer. Let's say you're a songwriter and you work a corporate job and you know how to like put words together or whatever. You work in HR. Maybe you find a creative way to let people know that they didn't get the job, you know, instead of just um we're not going with you as a candidate, sorry. Like find a creative way to make it, you know, less, you know, difficult for people to hear. So as a writer, I'm going to sit down and really try to craft something that I know people are not going to want to hear, but you know, I'm just trying to come up with whatever, you know, just anything, you
Yeah.
know, and that can be hard trying to find what it is, but I think it can be done with anything that you do. You know what I mean? I think that's how I fell. That's part of how I fell in love with mixing. I didn't really care for it at first, but because I'm like, what is technical jargon? You know, compressors and EQs and whatever. But I realized that man, an EQ can really bring out something out of a song and
Oh
make a
yeah.
song feel different and feel alive and do this and do that. The reverb can make me feel like I'm in a dream right now if I use it right. You know,
Yeah.
so I found something that actually made me fall in love with a thing that I didn't even like in the past.
Yeah.
You
Or the
know?
reverb can make you sound like you're in a bathroom.
Yeah. Doing a number 4. Whatever that is.
that's that's fluid coming out of every hole. All right. Now, now that I just said the important thing,
Mm-hmm. So
how can money contaminate creativity? Ooh, like
I can tell you that right now.
let's hear it.
Money contaminates creativity when it becomes the sole purpose of trying to be creative.
And like you just talk about like money ruins a lot of relationships.
Oh yeah, I can tell you about that firsthand. Yeah, yeah. There's people I don't talk to anymore because of that. You know, it just kind of like brought out their true colors. You know, people that call themselves brothers or sisters or whatever. It was like, yeah, he's just greedy.
Yeah,
And I'm like, you know, and it happened because of music.
really.
Yeah.
Dang.
This is one of the situations where um I played the role of producer, vocal producer, beat maker, songwriter, you know, and I was only going to be acknowledged as one of those things. Like, oh, but you did this. So I'm like, yeah, but I did all these other things that other people could have been in a room to do. I did
Yeah.
all of that, you know. So my value should be represented,
Right.
you know,
And then
as
think
such.
about it. It's like it's that same thing about killing the goose to get the egg. Like,
Mm,
the song could perform really well and you played such a vital role in that, but now
mm-hmm,
the goose is dead and they can't get that recurring,
mm-hmm.
quality product.
Yeah, I haven't heard that
Ultimately,
analogy in a
it's
long
like
time. That's right.
imagine if I was charging you to have me come onto this podcast. That would
Mm,
make no sense. I'd end up broker than if me and you worked together for
mm-hmm.
long-term success.
Yeah.
People just are they like think it's gonna disappear, and so they try to like grab at anything they can. It's hard to play the long-term game, but it's like infinitely valuable. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just crazy to me. People are the love of money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun. So, a good something is like people like say you have a hit song come out or a hit album
Mm-hmm.
and it generates a lot of money, which is, your lifestyle probably would change accordingly. It would probably upgrade. And, you kind of get to the point where, all right, it's time for something new. It's time to do it again. The pressure of like replicating past success. That could be an issue for some people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can't imagine. I imagine like Linkin Park has a new singer.
Yeah,
It's
the girl.
a girl.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, what that situation was like for her coming in there. Like, how do you create something new but still be the same group? That kind of sounds stressful.
Yeah. I mean, sophomore. I feel like for most artists, their sophomore albums are usually the most difficult, especially if their first album were really good. It's the pressure's always there to do it better.
Yeah, the artist Avicii,
Yeah.
how he took his life, and he struggled with the meaning of life. And what record does he have that's got like 2 billion hits?
Yeah, I can hear it in my head right now. I don't remember, but I know the song. I know the record if I hear it.
Yeah, it says he struggled with the meaning of life and with peace and contentment in a high pressure industry. That's just crazy. We've already talked about it, how like, people at the top do some wild things. You've got the whole Diddy situation. So many stars have, taken their own lives. Even Linkin Park's old singer, Chester, took his own life. And it makes you come back to his music and listen to it, and you're like, oh my gosh, he really meant what he was saying about like struggling. Adds a whole new like depth to it.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Kurt Cobain too.
It's the world. It's the world, not just money. It's the world contaminating because your creativity is like your deepest rooted tooth.
Yeah, it's the place where people can be the most vulnerable. It doesn't matter what kind of art it is. It could be dance, could be painting or whatever. Music is definitely one of the most popular ones because it fuses language with art, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to understand it on a surface level and on a deeper level, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It it's hard. I think, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I had years where I struggled with that, intrinsic versus extrinsic. I'm like, yo, how do I really turn this thing, and make it into a money machine? But then I'm trying to do the art and create the music. I broke free from that when I separated the two, bro.
Mm.
When it became like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna take care of my family and figure that out. But I'm gonna keep creating the art. If the art gets to the point where it's like making so much money where like I don't need to do anything else like for funds, and cool. You know what I mean? But and then but because if you really think about it, everybody who's made it, that's what's happened. Record labels didn't make their initial money to get, to become a good record label, big record label from music. They brought it from other industries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, Cash Money was all drug money. You know what I'm saying? RCA was from military. You know what I'm saying? Just different things.
Yeah.
So why are you as an independent artist any different? Go make money somewhere else. Get that pressure off.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd say it's like when I'm in engineering mode, it's a completely different mindset than when I'm in artist mode or even sometimes producer mode. But engineering is pretty like service based. Like I don't have an issue understand like that doesn't bother me. You don't have to be creative to mix. It helps.
Mm-hmm.
It does help, but you don't absolutely have to be in a super creative mindset. You can kind of just get the job done if you need to get the job done. But like, portraying yourself, especially online, trying to find clientele for your services and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you, like I was saying earlier, you know, trying to come off as professional and, you know, convince the world that you know what you're doing. Um, and that will bring on like imposter syndrome because people, you know, that there's people better than you watching, and you feel like you're impersonating a professional
Yeah.
sometimes, and that's um you know, that's tough. And that's why I'm glad we're doing this podcast, is because like I like to come on here and just be, you know, just unfiltered,
Mm-hmm.
like from the standpoint of just trying to learn, and the little bit of knowledge I do have, trying to share and being open about the two. And that's ultimately where things just end up working out for the better, for the happier, and for the more money,
Yeah.
you know, because you'll end up making more if you let the goose live and you let it eat chicken nuggets for dinner. Feed your goose eggs and chicken nuggets. Would you agree with that? Feeding your goose eggs and chicken nuggets? You seem like you
You
would.
lost me on that last part with goose, chicken egg and goose nuggets. Goose nuggets. Ooh.
Ooh. But I don't really know. We kind of bounced around on this, but I think we shared some good information and just conversation.
There's a few things we could touch on it. The benefits of monetizing your art versus not.
The benefits are you get to do what you love and not worry about anything else.
All right. So what is a deterrent from trying to monetize your art
Deterrent.
or downside?
I don't know, dude.
I
I've
tell you
like
what a
lived my.
downside is. If you try to monetize your art and no money comes out of it,
Ooh.
that could be depressing.
It's hard to monetize art because it's trying to convince the world that your stuff, that like it's
I
trying
just
to
feel
get
like there's
them
so
to
much
see your
music.
vision.
There's so much music out there. I saw a post on Instagram recently. Did you send it to me? I'm not sure. And it said, it was a meme and somebody was crying and like crying really like a lot. And it said, when you realize that music is 10% the music and 90% marketing.
Mm. It's a shame. It's a true shame.
But is that new? Is that new phenomenon? Has it always been
Well,
that
you
way?
got like herd mentality where people will like a song because everyone in the world likes it.
Yeah.
So marketing definitely. There's no way it's
I still
90%.
I still trip about when Drake dropped it's the album that had Tim's on it. And he went and he put billboards up in every city of of everyone who featured on the album. So in Lagos, Nigeria, there were a bunch of billboards up for the album because Tim's was on it.
Yeah.
In Chicago, there were a bunch of billboards out because what's his name? BJ the Chicago Kid was on it. Like maybe whoever else was on the album, just in those cities all over the world. So do you know what kind of like um systems have to be in place, and how much work that took, how much money that took, getting with all the ad agencies in all these different countries?
Right.
It's a crap ton of money. And this is not that wasn't Drake's first, second, third, fourth, or fifth album. So if you feel like you can just wake up one morning and like, all right, I'm gonna do music, I'm gonna make money off of the music, that's not the way to do it. All right, take care of yourself, take care of your family. All right, and then budget money and budget time to allocate to being a creative, budget time to getting good equipment, budget time and money for professional mix engineers and mastering people to get your stuff really right. Budgets time and money off of the money that you're making to promote and market your music. Just budget it out, and it's gonna be a lot better than where you are right now.
Amen. Amen. Thanks for watching, Ife.
Thanks for listening, Jackson.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
This has been a New Space podcast. I'm Ife, and
I'm DeMarcus Ware.
And we're the Dallas Cowboys.